Hi. Today we're going to be talking about what's the difference between good boundaries and poor boundaries. Having good, healthy boundaries in place versus poor, unrealistic boundaries can make all the difference in our personal, spiritual, and physical lives. Having boundaries is important, especially when loving someone suffering from addiction. But boundaries can be confusing. What is a good boundary? Some of us might be wondering. Just the idea of boundaries can be scary. Perhaps we're afraid of upsetting people and we don't want to damage our relationships. These feelings of confusion and fear are totally normal when it comes to navigating boundaries. So today, we're going to keep it short and simple by defining boundaries and then providing some examples. So let's start off with the basics. Boundaries are all about defining what is and what is not okay with our personal behavior and how we choose to react to other people's behavior. That is not a definition that you will find anywhere else. I've made it up. So take it or leave it. I'm sure there are other good ones out there too, but that's my version. We are responsible for defining and defending our own personal boundaries by respecting ourselves first. And that allows us to respect others. So to keep it simple, boundaries help us respect our hearts and values. And for each one of us, our boundaries might be very, very different because our values are different. Boundaries are not about trying to control other people's actions. So here's an example of a poor boundary. I will not allow my partner to be rude and unkind to me. Well, unfortunately, the truth is we can't control if our partners are rude or unkind. We can't place this boundary on someone else. Our partners are going to say what they want to. If we're telling our partners they can't be rude, well, we're trying to control another person's choices. So some of you might be thinking, yeah, but Michelle, they are being unkind. Do I just have to stand there and take it? And I would lovingly remind you that you're smart enough to know you can't control the way someone treats you. You can set a boundary about how you're going to respond to the other person's behavior. You don't have to accept verbal abuse from anyone. Boundaries serve as our protection. So instead of saying, I will not allow my partner to be rude and unkind to me, our healthy boundary can be, I will not tolerate rudeness or verbal abuse. If my partner is being abusive or disrespectful, I will leave the room. I will delete the text, or I will politely hang up the phone. I will disengage and find safety. If we don't have good boundaries, our relationships are suffering. Setting and keeping boundaries is a necessary skill for all women, not just ones in relationships with people who suffer from substance use disorder. Once we master boundaries, we can exercise them in all of our relationships. So, what are some good boundaries that you're thinking about implementing? I would love to hear from you. If you would like the transcript for this, or you would just like to read some comments or ask some questions, you can find me on Substack. There is a link in the show notes, or you can just Google Michelle Anderson or Love Over Addiction.